Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, you may have noticed I didn't post a video on this channel yesterday, and that wasn't necessarily by design, at least not by my design. Now normally I post a video almost every single day, and when I don't, it's usually one of 3 different reasons. So reason number 1 would be if I'm sick and I just don't have the energy or capacity to post a video. Number 2 is maybe I'm in transit and just don't have the access to grab the news and record a video, edit it, and post it. Or number 3, and this is a big one, I don't have cell signal. Sometimes when I'm camping, I have horrible signal. It's really hard to pull the news. It's really hard to record and post a video. There were a number of people who messaged me yesterday asking where the video was, and there were a number of people genuinely concerned for my well-being, and I want to say thank you for that. The big reason here is that I didn't really have good cell signal. So we had talked about thunderstorms earlier on in the morning in that video. Well, it turned out overnight we got massive thunderstorms and my cell signal in the morning was next to nothing. But I did take a photo of the frog there. You can see it was on our campsite. Our campsite was kind of a swamp. It was an absolutely massive storm that decimated a whole bunch of different areas. Fortunately, we were okay. So to make up for it, enjoy the picture of the frog there and enjoy the presence of the legendary One Fluff, who was very happy to see me home safe and sound. So first up on the docket, we're talking about Xbox 360 emulation with Xenia and also Xenia Canary. Now for those who may not be aware, Xenia Canary is an experimental fork of Xenia, and a lot of people like to use Xenia Canary. Anyways, we're not necessarily talking about these emulators specifically in terms of advancements or developments on them, but we're talking about that rumor that we addressed in the previous video about the Xenia and Xenia Canary teams working with Microsoft. So there was a lot of discussion out there, and I mean a lot of discussion out there about the rumor of the Xenia and Xenia Canary development teams working with Xbox on a massive backwards compatibility overhaul called Xbox Classics. Now in that previous video, we talked about how this rumor was absolutely not true, at least not reportedly true from the Xenia and Xenia Canary development teams. It was all started by this person right here. Anyways, there is an official statement now on the matter. So here's their statement over on Discord. And I don't think they needed to make this one, but it was being talked about quite a bit, so I think they had to make it. They say, "Hey everyone, I just wanted to clear some confusion regarding a rumor that has recently surfaced online. The Xenia and Xenia Canary by extension team is by no means associated with nor working alongside Microsoft in any capacity. Microsoft uses their own emulation to provide backwards compatibility on Xbox One series consoles, and as such has no reason to collaborate with Xenia even if they decided to bring these titles to PC. Xenia continues to be a community-run effort that encourages and enforces legal emulation practices both in development and within this server." So for any doubters out there, there you have it in black and white, or dark gray and white. It's the dark theme on Discord. I don't know about this one. The rumors were started by one person, and that one person doubled down on them, understandably so. But we even reported on this one the other day saying it wasn't true, and I guess a lot of people didn't believe that, or at least a number of people didn't believe that. Or news outlets were just trying to get some clicks. I really don't know here. But either way, it can't get more clear than that. And continuing to talk about emulation, next up we're talking about EchoArch. And EchoArch 3.0 has just dropped. It's got brand new shaders and overlays, and this is built for RetroArch. EchoArch is up on GitHub. It's 100% free and open source, and if you wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. But anyways, here, EchoArch is a touch-friendly overlay and custom shaders for RetroArch. They say it's clean, colorful, and complete. And it's compatible with a bunch of different systems here: Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, NES, SNES, Nintendo DS, PSX, N64, Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, Sega Saturn, and more. So at the time of filming, version 3.0 is the latest update, and they say it's a major update. It's got custom designed RetroArch shaders, dot matrix, LCD, and CRT screen effects, clean and colorful bezel variants, and system-specific presets with color themes. I would say one of the big parts about this is that the shaders are compatible with phones, tablets, TVs, PCs, single-board computers, and any screen size. If you are curious about this one, feel free to check it out and let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. And continuing to talk about emulation, next up we're talking about a brand new PS2 emulator on Android. This one's really interesting. So this one is called PCSX2 ARM64. And they say here they've taken PCSX2 and turned the recompiler into an ARM64 recompiler. Unfortunately, and this one is worth mentioning, I don't have a whole lot of information about this one just yet. It literally just popped up on GitHub. This could be nothing or it could be huge. We're going to have to wait and see. But overall, I am extremely curious to see how this progresses, if it progresses. And continuing to talk about PlayStation 2 emulation, and in fact, new PlayStation 2 emulation. Next up, we're talking about Iris, which is a new PlayStation 2 emulator. An experimental one at that, because it's very early on in development right now and it's probably not going to boot a whole lot. But it does exist and it just popped up. So at the time of filming, Iris version 0.10 Alpha is the latest release. And the developer says, after more than 7 months of hard work, I'm finally releasing Iris for anyone to try out. It's been a pretty long time since Iris can now actually run games. I decided it was time to make a release. Furthermore, and this is worth pointing out, the developer says, please bear in mind that Iris is currently very early in development, and even though it can boot and play games, they will always run at very low frame rates. The PlayStation 2 is a very complex and demanding console, so until I write a JIT and hardware renderer, full speed won't be possible. Now, I don't know about you, but I am very excited about Iris, and I'm curious to see where it goes from here. My philosophy when it comes to emulators is the more the merrier. More emulators, I think, means a stronger community and also less risk. If a system has multiple emulators, if one shuts down, it doesn't decimate the entire community. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about that one. And speaking about decimating a community, next up we're talking about Crysis. And it's being reported that Crysis has been removed from Steam. So this person here says the original Crysis has been removed from Steam and only playable through the EA subscription. Not worth it. Game is still available on GOG, discounted at 75% off. So taking a look on Steam to verify the accuracy of that tweet, and yeah, they're correct. Crysis is no longer available unless you've got EA Play. However, Crysis Remastered is still available and on for a 65% discount. To me, this is disappointing for a number of different reasons, and one of those is locking Crysis behind a subscription paywall. But taking a look over on GOG, this is one big reason why I'm a fan of GOG, is everything here is DRM free. And yeah, it's on sale for 75% off, which I would recommend taking a look at if you're interested in the original Crysis. And speaking about stuff being delisted, next up we're talking about Concord. And this one is weird and interesting to me. So apparently a pre-release build of Concord has been leaked. And what's weird and interesting is that this game requires an online connection in order to work. So the pre-release build is really limited in what people can do. And I'm curious to see if this pre-release build gets modded or patched in order to work without an online connection. I recommend giving the article a read over on VGC, as there's a lot of information here and they downloaded a build to confirm if it was authentic or not, and it turns out it's authentic. And I guess the date is November 14th, 2023 for the build. I'm curious to see what happens with this one moving forward. And last up here, we're talking about the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, and this is very interesting. A lot of people have been talking about this one online recently. It turns out in terms of game preservation, you may want to put the cartridge in your Switch every so often. So here is the latest from Does It Play. 3DS games need to be put into your system periodically to prevent them from dying. How long they last otherwise seems to be unknown. Switch and in theory, Vita could be affected, but is speculation at this time. Now, I would say most people probably won't even worry about this or even care about this, and I would say it's probably not going to affect a whole lot of people at this point in time. But if you are a collector, it may be worth noting the storage types for your 3DS cartridges and probably Switch 2 and Switch cartridges. So from my understanding here, by design, these cartridges need to be booted up every now and then in order to maintain integrity. And I guess if they're sitting for super long periods of time, it increases the risks of those cartridges essentially dying. Now, I haven't seen any reports of 3DS cartridges being completely dead or anything like that just yet. Maybe there are some out there, I haven't seen widespread reports of it yet. And I'm curious to see what happens moving forward, especially for people maybe, I don't know, like 10, 20 years down the line buying brand new inbox sealed 3DS games, and maybe by extension Switch games, and Maybe switch 2 games if the whole game is on the cartridge and not a keycard. We'll have to wait and see moving forward, but this may be an early PSA if you've got a 3DS collection to possibly boot up the games every now and then. I don't know on the frequency, and I don't know the severity of this, if there's even a severity yet. I would say this is still pretty early on in terms of realizing the full impact. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Well, actually, no. The legendary One Fluff made an appearance. She graced us all with her excellency. Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.